And I think that's where we are. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hope everybody is doing well. I hope your week is going well. Here we are. It's Wednesday already. Crazy how fast time flies. Man, it flies fast. Days are getting shorter. Weather's getting colder, slow and steady. It's all right, though. That's all right. Just that cycle. Another year around the sun. It's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. So, anyway, before we jump into anything in this live stream, I would like to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. If you can't abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here because we're not going to tolerate that. Simple as that. So let's just be kind. Have a good chat and go from there. I got to address something that I saw. I saw a comment. So my last video that I put up, I did swear in the video. Okay. And the wheelbarrow tipped over and all the dirt that was in there got dumped down the hill, and it was annoying. I was a little upset about that. So I did swear. And somebody had made the comment, you say you have a family-friendly oriented channel, but you're a hypocrite. Why? Because I swear once in a blue moon on my channel. And I'm not swearing like crazy all the time. That makes me a hypocrite. I'm like, whatever. Whatever. I'm a human being. Okay. And that's the key. Gotta love keyboard warriors. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're just trying to get a rise, and that's fine. If you heard me on an everyday basis, you'd be like, oh, my God, this man swears a little bit. Right. Yeah, this isn't a church. Exactly. So, hey, it is what it is. I did put a warning on that video, so it's not like you were like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that, Hey, I know of other people's channels that are 10 times worse. Well, like I said, I made the conscious effort to try not to swear on my channel because I think that I can get my point across without swearing. I thought I was going to do with Jason, Angry Prepper. Oh, if I ever get pissed enough, you may see a rant with a lot of swearing in it. So, but that was just a frustration. That's all that was. But hey, Ellen, watching from Oregon, very nice. Glad you're here. So, anyway, yeah, life is interesting, and people are going to have their opinions, which is perfectly fine. I don't have an issue with that. Steve always used to say, well, he's not like he's not here anymore. He's still here, but Steve always said to me, he goes, the way I said it made it look like he was gone, but he's like, what's the matter? You can't make 100,000 people happy, and that I always loved that because it just kind of put it in perspective. You're never, ever, ever going to make everybody happy, so don't even try. And I don't, And what are you doing with the metal from the chicken coop? What metal? I don't have any metal for the chicken coop. I put a couple of sheets of metal on the existing chicken coop because it's wood. For the moment, we just set them up there for right now because of the rain and stuff like that. You're going to be seeing, upcoming progress with this chicken run. I went out and made a run today and got a few things that I needed. And so hopefully, like tomorrow, my game plan tomorrow. Hey, Yvonne, welcome. Tomorrow, I plan on, my focus is the chicken run tomorrow. That's what I'm going to be working on. All the chicken wire is now in. All the chicken wire is now buried. that needed to be buried. So I am on to my next phase of what I plan on doing with the chicken run. I had to go pick up some more 2x4s, which I did today as well. I have a game plan, and you'll be seeing it as we go along. I don't have as many 2x4s as I'm going to need, but that's okay. It's going to be buttoned up really nicely. My focus is making sure that the chickens are safe. Yeah, the first regular season, yeah, Cowboys and Eagles. I'm not hopeful. JJ, I'm not hopeful on that one. But hey, we'll see what happens. I'll root for my boys, of course, the Cowboys. But yeah, Eagles got a pretty good team. Pretty good team. So, but I'm my right now. My concern is the Yankees. That's what I've been watching. They started a 12-game stretch yesterday against all winning teams, and that's pretty much going to determine if they make it into the playoffs or not. If they can do well over this next 12 games, and they won last night, so now it's 11 left. We'll see what happens. So, Ed, what insulation was it in the New York coop? I carbon copied your design with the shed. Thank you. Rock wool insulation, Melissa. Rock wool insulation is the only insulation that I will use when it comes to building and insulating anything. Now, other people that are here, they can use whatever they want on their own buildings, but I will always recommend using the rock wool. It's a superior insulation. It's expensive. There's no doubt about that. But it's a sound suppressant. It is fireproof. So it won't burn. Critters don't like to nest in it. So yeah, I highly recommend it. I used it in my New York property, not even just in the chicken coop, but in the house. Becky's house, same thing. And I think they did that. I don't know. Well, maybe they didn't over there. I don't know. I don't remember what she did, but I know I told her to use rock wool. If she did or not, I have no idea. I don't remember, to be 100% honest. I don't think she did. She should have, but I don't think she did. But again, that's their place. They can do what they want with it. But the place that we built out of the shed up there, absolutely 100% rock wool. So. And I mean the framing that holds the tarps. On the chicken, you're talking about the chicken. I'm an insulation snob. Well, I'm going to tell you what, John. Here's my thing: do it right the first time, and you don't have to do it again. All the tarps that right now that are on the existing chicken run, that whole thing, all those tarps are going to get burnt. They're all shot. They're just tore up really, really badly. That whole thing is going to be gone. Because once we get the new stuff going, they're going to be safe. They're not going to be predators aren't going to be able to come swooping down and take them out. So, but yeah, it's yeah. I'm going to be like I said. I'm not going to be building a chicken coop like I had in New York for these guys right now. Don't have the funds, number one, and I need to have something functional, better. Even if I'm just building on to what we have, that may be the case. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do it yet. I'm just trying to get the run done first. Once the run is done, I can get the old run out. They'll have more room to move, and we're going to go from there. But yeah, there's a lot to do. So anyway, what do we got? 124 in the chat, guys. We got 51 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. I do appreciate that. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It really does help, and again, make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. I will tell you, I'll give you an example of something. I watched the guy, Claremont is rebuilding Claremont in Canada, not Canada, France. English guy bought the property, and he is redoing the Claremont over there. Okay, And so his roofing, they've been showing all the roofing and stuff like that, and they're using chipboard, which is garbage. I wouldn't use chipboard for nothing. Again, if you're going to do it right the first time. That's always been my thing. In the pavilion, a good example is, right. We went with 3/4 inch plywood for the flooring, for the loft. Why did we go? We didn't have to go with 3/4 inch plywood, right? But we did it because it's going to be solid, it's not going anywhere, and it's going to be able to hold whatever we decide to put up there. That's yeah, a bag of Rockwell's at $80 now. It used to be 90, so I don't know why that came down. That which was nice that it came down, but yeah, so that was we went with a more solid thing, and that's why we want to do it right once. And then I don't want to. Once we're done with that pavilion, I don't want to have to think about it for the rest of my life. I want it to be there, be solid, be ready to go, and that's it. It has a function. And again, yeah, press board is garbage. It's absolute trash. It gets wet, it breaks apart. At least with like 3/4 inch plywood, it'll get wet, but it ain't gonna rot apart. You know what I mean? But it's like, obviously you don't want to leave it exposed and stuff like that. But if you're gonna do something, guys, if you're gonna build, don't half a it. You know what I mean? Don't do it that way. Do it right. You do it right once, and you don't have to worry about it again. And that's the key. So, but. One of the things I was going to bring up today. So I had gone out yesterday, had to go do laundry and stuff like that. So that was part of what I had to do yesterday. And so went out. Gas was $2.87 a gallon yesterday. Okay. I went out today because I wanted to go get some supplies that I needed for continuing this build. Gas was $3.19 today. And I'm like, what happened that caused gas prices to go up more than 30 cents overnight? I mean, that's a huge, huge increase. 32 cents a gallon in one day. I mean, that's insane. And I was in a private live stream earlier, and somebody had mentioned, well, we did bomb that one boat, the drug running boat from Venezuela. Yeah, but we don't get oil from Venezuela, you know. Yeah, gas company CEO needed a new car. They will make every excuse possible to jump up gas prices. Every excuse possible. Um, you know, and here's what. So, remember when a hurricane would come through like Texas or Louisiana, and it would hit the refineries, and they would be like, "Oh, well, gas prices are going to go up because the refinery's damaged and it needs to be squared away and fixed." They never tell you when the refinery's fixed, and they're pretty much fixed pretty quick, but they keep those gas prices higher. 269 in Williams, Arizona, 299. Same club, Flagstaff today. No increase out here, just you. Anybody else? Anybody else seeing gas prices jump up overnight? Because that was just bizarre. To me, it was bizarre. So, I mean, I'd like to know why they stayed that way. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. It's crazy. So, refinery in California shut down. Maybe it's my. Hey, but that doesn't make sense that they would raise it that much in one day. So, yeah, I have no idea. So it was just one of those crazy things you see, and but who knows? Who knows? None of it's cheap anymore. That's for sure. No matter what. So at least it's not $4 a gallon. At least we're not in California, right, where they're saving the planet. But Yeah, it's so anyway, I wanted to talk about in this stream, like the title says, we're never gonna you and I are never gonna ever know the full truth. Like Labor Day is over, right? But oh, it's just it said sale, right? Um, so we're never gonna know the full truth, right? So I don't know if you guys just saw that it does okay. I mean, it's an 8-cylinder truck, so it definitely cost, but it happens. Um, so they just released like 30,000 pages of documents on the whole Epstein thing. And I'm going to tell you what, guys. And when they were coming into office and they were like, we're going to release all these documents and let the truth get out there and blah 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 blah. And when it didn't happen, I said, they're not giving us the information. They have the information. They know who the players are. And I think and I don't know for sure. I mean I can't I know this or I'm not saying that, okay? I have a feeling that there are some major players on those lists and they don't want that put out there to the public because then the public would be like, well, why aren't we prosecuting these people? I want you to think about that, right? So they go after Epstein, they go after his girlfriend. Um, and other than that, who's gone to jail, folks? Who's gone to jail, right? Who's sitting in jail for having sex with underage girls or underage boys? Who's in jail for all that? You know, so it's just it's nonsense. They're never going to give us all the information. Maxwell, yeah, but she's the only one. The perpetrators, the one prince over in the UK, they know he was diddling them, right? They know that it's been proven that he did. Is he in jail? Right? No, of course not. So there's people on those lists that and they've even shown. I mean, they've shown who visited the island, and it's a whole laundry list of very prominent people, very very prominent people. So they're never going to let us know realistically, and most of it's blacked out. Sam said, okay, well, no surprise. So again, that's just one example, right? 9/11, are we ever going to get the full scoop on that, the real scoop on that? I mean, I highly doubt it. There's a narrative that's been put out there, and that's what you're to believe, period. No questions asked. And if you question it, and if you say anything other than what the accepted narrative is on any situation, you're censured, you're given strikes. And I'm not saying anything, I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying is, will we ever get all the information? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Any of these things that happen, guys, we're never going to get the information because they don't want us to know. They want us to know their truth, and that's it. That's it. You know, like the whole thing with UFOs. I mean, how many years have they denied that there was UFOs? I mean, forever and ever. I mean, and then you have these objects crash, and they're recovered, and they're investigated, and all these type of things. Excuse me. And again, now me personally, do I believe in extraterrestrials? I do, and and the reason why I do, it is beyond arrogant of us as human beings to believe that in the entire universe, right? And we're just one universe. How many universes are out there? But in our universe, that we are the only intelligent life out there. That's very arrogant to me. When I've seen things myself, that don't make sense, you know, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, still looking for intelligent life on Earth. Yeah, no kidding. But Careful how we use intelligent. Exactly. Yeah, that needs to be used loosely, absolutely loosely. But again, we're never going to ever get all the information. Um, Another one would be Pearl Harbor, guys. All right, there is speculation that they knew it was coming and they let it happen. Now, I'm not saying that was the case. I'm not saying it's not the case, but that has been put out there. Why wasn't any of the aircraft carriers in Pearl Harbor on that day? Why were they out to sea? And so when the Japanese harbor, which facilitated us getting into World War II, we did not want to be part of, right? Um, why were there no aircraft carriers there? So it's just, there's a lot of things out there, a lot of information that's happened. The assassination of JFK, it was another one. Now, again, I'm not going to say I have all the answers, because I don't, folks. I don't. I have a ton of questions. I always have a ton of questions. Do you think the government would let the public know if a meteor was headed directly towards Earth for a major impact? Absolutely not, JJ. I absolutely do not. I think what would happen if they knew, like I said, they can pick these things out pretty far out. And we'll use an example. We'll play a little game here. Let's say they knew there was going to be an Earth impact coming 2 years from now, right? Know the Earth is going to be impacted. Know it's going to be devastating for the planet. What they would do, the powers that be, and not just the United States, every major power around the world, they would be working on underground bunkers. They would be stocking them for years and years and years, and they would select who they wanted to be in those bunkers. And when that was coming, when that time came, they would want to keep you in the dark as long as you possibly could be, because then you can still be the worker bee, go to work, continue to be a productive member of society, and keep you going as long as they could. And then when the time came, good luck, folks. I mean, that's reality. They do that all the time now with anything. Where I want you to think about this. The news media. And I'm not just talking the left news media. I'm talking all the news media, folks. The information that we're given is what they want us to hear. So if you lean right, okay, you're watching more right-wing news media. If you lean left, you're watching more left-leaning news media. There is no middle ground media. There really isn't, okay? There's just not. So you're watching one of these two sides generally, if you're, leaning left or leaning right. But the problem is, with any news outlet, they're given a piece of paper and this is what you're reporting. And that's it. They're not going to always give you all the information. Oprah is still trying to find out how to control meteors. How to control them? I really don't watch a lot of news, to be honest with you. If I go on the laptop, I'll peruse what's being put out there and I'll look at it, and then I might try to do some more background information to try to get more information on it. But, again, they're giving us the information they want us to hear. They're never going to give us unbiased information, either side. Never going to happen. So there's no more trust in the media. They caused that problem. Exactly, JJ. People don't. No, I don't have a TV. I have not had a TV over 10 years now. No, when I moved in my property, when I went from Greece, New York, and I moved to my property and moved off grid, I gave up every TV I had. I gave them all away. Nothing but garbage on TV. It is, my grandfather used to always call it the idiot box. He said, if you watch it long enough, it's going to turn you into an idiot. And always believed that, and I still believe that. Again, they don't call it programming, folks, for nothing. Any shows that I really want to watch, I can watch anything I want on Netflix. So that's what I have Netflix. But no, I don't have a television. Only thing like I said, on here, this is what I watch on my laptop. Delbert said, I haven't had any TV since 2009. Mimi says, I don't think that if there are aliens coming here, would start out. I think it would come to learn from us. However, the powers that be would cause them to show us the power that they have. Well, I think, if you have a truly advanced civilization, which is, you've seen, if you've seen different videos before, doctored with AI. I just had, okay, I'm going to give you an example of something with AI, right? That they can make things look like something. So I had somebody ask me, have you seen the videos where they're dropping bags out of the White House, the white bags out of the White House windows? And I'm like, no, I didn't see it. He goes, wow, well, you're not watching the right news and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, what? And I was talking to somebody else, and Trump was asked that question directly. And he said, the windows that you're talking about are bulletproof windows that weigh 600 pounds and they don't open. He goes, so what you're watching is something that's AI generated, put out there to deceive people. Wow, what a freaking shock, right? But if you look at a lot of old video of things that have happened, like there was a video, and it was a rocket launch. And this is an old video, guys. It was a rocket launch. And all of a sudden you see some ship come in and a laser hits the nose of that rocket ship, and that rocket ended up blowing up. I don't know if any of you have ever seen that. Anybody that's older probably has seen that video. But I saw that, and this is, I'm talking, this is like 50s, 60s type of video. And I was always like, if that fascinated me, what's going on? You know what I mean? And like I said, again, they don't want us to know. If there was something that could come and like wipe us out without even thinking about it, all that would do would scare people. They want to keep you under control. It's all at the end of the day, it's always about control. Always your job, right? What do? They tell you what to do, how to do it. If you don't do it the way that they want it, you're out of there. You're fired, right? It's about control. So keeping you submissive and in control and doing what you're told, that's what it's all about. Relationships, not all relationships, but some relationship. You have one of the parties want to control everything. So what do? They manipulate, they play mind games with the person, talk down to them, belittle. There's all kinds of ways that people will be manipulative, men and women. So I'm not like just picking on one side. I'm saying both sides will do it. It happens all the time. Here's something to think about, okay? Now, they've talked about like the ocean. We know more about space than we do about our own oceans, in the bottom of our own oceans. So what's going on underneath the ocean? Why haven't they explored that more? Or have they to a certain point and run into something? Okay. It's just, like I said, again, there is a lot of things that we're never, ever going to know. We're never going to know because they're not going to tell us. If you guys remember when they were doing the whole moon thing, there's periods up there when they were up there that there's nothing, that information is gone. What did they see? What happened? You know what I mean? There's speculation that there are already bases on the moon. I'm not saying that there are, and I'm not saying that they're not. But again, what's the truth? What information are we getting? What information are we not getting? Again, if you had, I want you to think about that. Underwater UFOs. Yep. I want you to think about this. And again, it's going to piss some people off when I say this, but I'm a reality oriented individual. Okay, I don't live in fantasy. I live in reality. Let's say, without a doubt, it was proven that there's these other intelligent life forms out there doing their own thing. You know, they're completely different from us. They don't look like us. They look completely different. What does that what does that do? Does two things, honestly, folks. Does two things. The first thing it does, it would scare the crap out of people. They wouldn't know how to handle it. And number two, it throws your whole God theory out the window because supposedly we're made in God's image. Remember that, right? It says so in the Bible. Well, whose image would they be made in? Right? Who do they follow? Are they Christian? Are they not Christian? Are they Muslim? Are they Hindu? Maybe they're a completely different religion, right? That they have that they follow. So again, it would put the whole thing into upheaval, and people would be like losing their minds. They would be losing their minds. And again, I'm not trying to bash religion, so please don't think I'm bashing religion. I'm just saying that if it can be proven that there's other intelligent life forms out there, it throws religion for a loop. So, what are you going to do? I honestly believe, and I'm going to give you my opinion. All right, strictly my opinion. How did we evolve as fast as we did? Right? People go, all of a sudden we made this huge leap. Alien DNA. They put some of their DNA into us so that we could do what? Think about what is the one thing? What is the one thing that human beings want? What do we go after? What do we dig in the ground for, folks? What do we dig in the ground for? We dig in the ground for gold. Why? Why gold? Why is that the thing? Is it possible? And I'm just speculating, of course. I'm just, like I said, I'm a big believer in questions. I think it's important. Is it possible that aliens were here looking for gold and they need it for whatever they need it for? So they made us the workers and have us have that desire, Oh, there's so many what ifs. Yeah, it's how many civilizations were there before us? I mean, they're proving now, with these different things that they're finding, you know, when were the pyramids really built? All those things. Again, a lot of speculation, a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions, but that's always going to be out there. We again, like I said for this stream, we're never, you and I, there's people out there that know the truth. There are people out there that know the truth, but we're never going to know the truth. They don't want us to know. They want to keep us ignorant, blissfully ignorant. They want us just smart enough to run the machines, but not smart enough to question what the narrative is, and that's reality. That's reality. And I know people don't like to hear that, but that's the case. You know what I mean? That is the case. Like, I'm a big believer in questioning everything. Everything. I believe 100% at face value what we're being told. I ever believe we're ever given 100% the information that we should be given. I don't. So, I try to live my life. I try to be as independent as I possibly can be. And fluoride in the pituitary gland. Exactly. Why did they need to put fluoride in the water? Fluoride is not going to help your teeth, right? I mean, they've shown. So, but what are they still doing? They still put fluoride in the water, and it shrinks the pituitary gland. So, sometimes, coast to coast, sometimes I listen to that. Yep. Actually been on that a couple times. I've been on there a few times. So, Yeah, not just microscopic. Right. Exactly. No, they want, like I said, guys, look at how they've dumbed down the schools. I had again interesting conversation. A lot of my interesting conversations are with my buddy Steve, because he's looking at things at a completely different perspective, and he was talking about Linda McMahon, now head of the education department, and I said to him, and he goes, "Oh, what? Because her husband was the head of the WWF, and now she's the head of the education department." He goes, "What a joke!" And so I said, "Dude, the education department has been a joke for so long. It's been a travesty for so long. Try having an autistic child with this education system that we have. You want to talk? So I'll give you, just from my perspective as a father of an autistic child and dealing with the school system. This is the box, right? This is the box. They want all the autistic kids to fit in that box. Can't deviate, can't be different. We got to put them all in this box. And it don't work that way with autistic kids. Every autistic kid is unique in their own way. And we need to cater our educational system. If they really truly want to help these kids, if they really truly want to help these kids, they need to revamp the whole thing and look at it differently. When you take away cursive writing, when you take away home ec, when you take away shop class, these are horrible things that they got rid of. What are we teaching our kids at school? Let me ask you this: anybody that's older, even younger, and any younger folks, did they prepare you to go out into the real world and be ready to be a productive member of society? Not at all. Did they teach you how to balance your checkbook? Nope. You know what I mean? And these are things that should be, are they pushing? Are they pushing carpentry and plumbing and electricians? Are they pushing any of those things anymore? Not at all. Not at all. So, again, you know, I'm 77, and yes, they prepared me. Well, good for you. It's very rare. Um, Schools nowadays are a freaking joke. They want these kids to do what they're told, don't question anything, and that's it. So I'm not allowed to discuss it, but I totally agree. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, it's all about computer and worthless jobs. You know, good luck with your gender study degree from college. Good luck with that. Might as well take basket weaving because you're going to go just about as far. So all of it, it's nonsense. It's a colossal waste of money. And again, even with college, all college does, it shows a potential employer that you showed up for 4 years, did a certain number of tasks to get your degree, and that's it. And hopefully you'll show up for their job and you'll work and do what they want you to do. It's an indoctrination, yes, system. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you have, these lunatic liberal college professors that are taking these young minds and twisting them to their own thing. So, yeah, colleges show that you're dumb enough to be scammed for thousands. Well, and again, are there certain things in college that are good things? Of course, okay. But hey, basket weaving can be a lucrative business. It can be. Yes, it absolutely can be. Oh God, that's too funny. But again, guys, like I said, it's just the whole system is a mess. And that's what I said in this discussion I was having with Steve. I said the educational system's a mess, and it has been for a long, long time. So, and I've never used anything I learned in high school growing up. I was taught how to read, print, write, um, think for myself before I started school. Well, and again, get the basics. Be able to do math. I love history. Okay. So it's one of the things that I think that is fascinating, because history will repeat itself if we don't learn our lessons from the past. That's a fact. That is a fact. So if we look at history and we study history and see what happened, we can hopefully do something different. But people don't. They don't know what happened 50 years ago, let alone 100 or 200 years ago, and how things went down and what the manipulation was. I mean, it's just it's a constant thing that's been going on forever, and it's not going to change. And it's just it drives me crazy, But they don't want you to think. Does anyone ever use trigonometry in real life? Yeah, no, no. Algebra, trig, you're not using it. You're not using it. So, uh, yeah. I liked math. I'll tell you, that was one of the classes that I actually liked in school. I found it interesting. So, but it's just they're not preparing our kids for real life. They're not preparing kids now because everybody gets a participation trophy. That there's winners and losers, and when you get out into the real world, you're going to win or you're going to lose. And it's not a matter of are you going to lose? Everybody's going to lose at some point. It's picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and getting back in that fight. That's what separates winners from losers. Because if you look at any of these highly successful individuals out there, they failed over and over and over again, trying to get to where they're at now. And then eventually, somehow, they did the right thing at the right time and they became successful. But it's determination, it's willpower, it's not giving up. We have a society now. Oh, it's too hard, and I just can't, and I don't want to do anything. It's insanity. It's insanity now. So yeah, they don't teach budgeting and accounting. They don't teach you investing, right? Think about it. Think about it. So hey, neighbor Bob, big game tomorrow night. Probably my Cowboys are going to go down. That's what I hope it doesn't happen, but it would not shock me. We should be teaching our kids. All right, here's your paycheck. This is your paycheck. If you take a certain percentage of your paycheck every time you work and invest it and put it away, you can be independently wealthy by the time you're older, because it's like compound interest, dividend reinvestment, all that type of stuff. I don't teach our kids none of that stuff in school. They don't teach them any of that, right? They teach you, if you don't do what you're told, we're going to punish you. We're going to give you in-school suspension, or suspension, kicking you out of school. I had that happen a few times. I always liked being suspended. I was like, cool. Now I don't have to go to school. So, but yeah, and doing what you love, follow your heart. They want you, again. They want you just like the autistic kids, folks. Here's the box. They want you in that box. They don't want you thinking for yourselves. They don't want you questioning anything. So, yeah, if you have money, you don't need the system anymore. Exactly. So they don't want you to go, hey, I've invested XYZ amount every year, and this is what my return is, and this is where I'm at. And now I can be 50 years old and say, and not care about Social Security because I got my own money and I can do whatever I want to do. They don't want you to do that. They want you to keep working, live paycheck to paycheck, and never get ahead. And they want your kids to do that and your kids' kids to do that. They don't want, yeah, they just, it's craziness, folks. It's craziness. And so, do I have a problem with the whole educational system? You bet I do. A huge problem with the educational system. So, I always got into trouble because I questioned everything. Teachers hated me, nuns hated me, but I never stopped questioning. Right, because they don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to. I was just that kid that wouldn't do the work. That's who I was. Out of a class of 100, what did we graduate? I think we graduated, I think it was like 125 or 127, something like that. And I think, I'm not 100% sure because I never really cared, I think I graduated 118th, near the bottom of my class. But it was because I wouldn't do the work. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention this real quick again. I had a teacher said to me one time, Ed, did you do your homework? And I went, no. Are you going to do it? And I went, no. She goes, what if I call your mother? And I laughed in this teacher's face and said, she ain't going to make me do it either. What do you do with a kid like that? What do you do? Think about it. Think about it. All right. We got 208 in the chat. We got 124 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel, and I do appreciate that. It also makes a huge difference with the algorithms. So the more interaction, the better it is for the channel. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well, and I thank you ahead of time. Now, we're going to do egg count, but we're doing it this way from now on, okay? Total number of eggs. So how many eggs total? Did Betty White lay? Yes or no? One hen, yes or no? And then we have the 3 Easter eggers. So how many green eggs did we get today? 1, 2, or 3, or 0? So it's total number of eggs, yes or no for Betty White, and how many Easter egger eggs. So that's your mission, guys. So go ahead and get your guesses in, and we will go from there. So I'll give you guys a moment, and we will go from there. But chickens are fun, though. They're fun. And they're watching me. Oh, my God. When I'm out there working on that run, they're just like fascinated. They're just watching. But I think they'll be happy when I'm finished with everything. I think they'll be really, really happy. I'm drinking a water because I drank a green tea in my first live stream. So I don't want to drink 2. So Betty generally lays most days, actually, Tree Saw Lim. Yep, she lays most days. All right, so first of all, I'm going to tell you real quick what they did yesterday. Best day yet so far. I got 11 eggs yesterday. All 3 Easter eggers laid, and Miss Betty White also laid. So out of 14 hens, I had 11 eggs yesterday. Today, shockingly enough, the right guess was by DJ. I don't know how the hell this guy does it all the time. 8 eggs today. Yes for Miss Betty White, and 2 of the 3 Easter eggers laid today. So congratulations once again to DJ. You got it right, brother. I don't know how you do it, man. I mean, he's won way more than anybody else. And Nostradamus was a close second. He came in right after DJ with the same guess, but DJ got him. So, but yeah, so they did good today. So I'll take 8 eggs, but man, yesterday with 11, I was like, oh, that is so cool. So, but yeah, they're fun. Chickens are fun, and so like I said, I want to get them something that they're going to be really, really good with, and they're going to be okay. And so we'll see what goes on there. He's got to have some kind of. He's got a drone up there watching just the chickens. DJ's an alien. It could be. Could be. That's too funny. As a spy on my property. Yeah, but nobody else knew what I got today. There was nobody else here to see what I pulled. So the only spy that he would have would be me, and we're not talking about the egg count, which is funny. But no, they did good. They did good. Yes, guys. Speaking of lottery tickets, man, what 1.4 billion? That's a nice little chunk of change. That's a nice little chunk of change. You're looking at what, about 500 million clear? So, hey, got to be in it to win it. So that's why I look at it. I got my tickets. I won a big whopping $4 on the last drawing. I had a Powerball. So I $6. That's all I play. Don't matter how high. $6. So I got four of my six back, and so I bought $6 worth more for tonight. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun to dream, and be like, what would I do? How would I do it? How would I spend the money? And it's just, I mean, it's like if you had one person win that, it's just ridiculous, life changing money. I mean, you could literally take half the money that you would get and invest it, live off the interest, just the interest, and you'd never have to work again. And you could piss away the other half. Um, you know, it, it could actually be easy to do realistically, but I just, like I said, I definitely, I know what I would do. Like I said, what I would have underground up here would be in the $6-7 million range. So I want you to think about what you could do with $6 or $7 million underground. Yeah, right. Imagine the bunker you can build with $1 billion. Yeah, no kidding. I would definitely have something major underground. So, but like I said, it's fun to dream. You know, until somebody wins it, we all got a chance. So the odds are not great, but that's okay. It's a fun thing to. And could you imagine? Just imagine, you wake up and you look and you go, "Oh my God!" I definitely, number one, would be anonymous. Absolutely would. I wouldn't want to have my picture out there. No, you'd get more than that. You'd get more than that, Sean. 1.4 billion. Basically for every $100 million, you're looking at about 40 million is what you would take home. So for a billion, you're looking at 400 million. And then now you're looking at what? 4, 8, 12, about 520 million. 520 million free and clear out of 1.4 billion. So that's what you would end. I could learn to adjust my lifestyle for that. Definitely, I would learn to adjust my lifestyle. Yeah, I wouldn't want everybody to know, because everybody and their brother would be coming out of the woodwork. Like I said, there would be signs. There would be signs to be like, wow, Prepper Nurse One's got a brand new truck. Prepper Nurse One's got a bulldozer. Prepper Nurse One's got a backhoe. Prepper Nurse One just bought 500 acres of land. Yeah, like I said, there would be signs. But yeah, like I said, it's fun to speculate, and that's part of the game of it. God, if I won, what would I do? And so, yeah, it would definitely be an awesome setup. I would have, like I said, underground, huge reservoirs of water, oil, gasoline, diesel, food for 15, 20 years worth of food, freeze dried and not free. I mean, it would just be insane. So yeah, get the cats and chickens lots of bling. See, that's, I've never been, um I've never been a flashy person. So if I won, you would never. All of a sudden, I wouldn't be wearing all kinds of gold and diamonds and all that type of stuff. I never would. Yeah, part owner of the Arizona Tea Company. Like I said, I would. What I would do with a lot of it, dividend reinvestment, stock purchase, which means that whatever, like if you bought 1,000 shares, because with that kind of money, you go in there and buy as much as you want. Buy 1,000 shares of XYZ company, and then just automatically get it with dividends, where you can reinvest the dividends and just let it keep building up. Just let it keep building up. That's all you would have to do. And your kids' kids would never have to work if you did it the right way. I would set up a trust for all three of my kids. They would each have a certain amount of money in that trust that they could only access so much each month. So, hopefully just even that, like if like, you set up a trust for $10 million for your kid. My twins, Eddie and Heather, and my stepson Josh, who I helped raise. So that's the three kids. I raised Josh from 5 to 16. So he will always be my boy in my heart. I coached his little league teams. He's a Yankee fan because of me. I used to take him to the games. We'd go up to Toronto, watch the Yankees play. Lots of fun, lots of fun. So he will always, in my heart, will always be my boy. He's got a great dad. His dad's a very involved father, but hopefully I gave him some good guidance as well, I hope. So, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that one. But yeah, they would be set, and it would be set up that they couldn't just go and take it and spend it. So, and I'm sure, they would still be coming around going, hey, if you won, what time's the party? Yeah, right. I'll tell you what, I've always said this. If I won like that ridiculous amount of money like that, I'm spending a couple weeks in Vegas. I would be spending a couple weeks in Vegas. I would be one hellacious party. That would be one big time party. So, yeah. Yes, indeed. Get everybody out there and just, say, okay, here's some money. Go have fun. See all the shows, gamble, just have a great time. So that would be the game plan. But no, like I said, you would have to, if you're smart, you would invest a lot of that money. Like I said, again, you can do a lot of good as well. I would try do a live in Vegas. There you go. But I would definitely, I would have some private investigators working for me. Looking for people that are truly in need, that are trying, and anonymously help them. They would never know where it came from, and that's the best way to do it. Somebody like they need a vehicle or a better house or whatever. If you're in that position and you're able to help, that would be awesome. Or they're trying and they're trying to go to school or whatever. You make it available, to be able to help them do that so they can have a life. So I mean, there's a lot of things. So yeah, if you're really smart, you go into hiding for a while. You'd have to. You would have to. Like I said, have you ever seen some of these people that have won and they're getting like thousands and thousands of letters of people wanting help and asking for help, or I want you to invest in this, that, or the other thing. Like I said, the one thing that you should be investing in also would be land, because they ain't making any more of it. So I definitely would want a very nice large parcel of land that I could make a compound in there, and have family and friends and my group, that we could have it set up where it would be awesome. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you what, Tess, this is the way I look at it. If you were my friend before I won the lottery, you would still be my friend after I won. And I would try to help out my friends, if I could, depending, you know what I mean? But people that come out of the woodwork that I hadn't seen in 10 years and, oh, hey, remember me? No, I would be really, really good at telling people to go F themselves. They would hate me, but that would be okay because they weren't there before. So I wouldn't, it's not like I would be losing anything. So, but yeah, like I said, I wouldn't want everybody and their brother to know that I won. I would want to keep it low because I would still want to be able to walk the streets and be anonymous where people didn't know, hey, that's the guy that won $1.4 billion. I wouldn't want that. I So, but yeah, like I said, it's I would probably keep this place in West Virginia and try to add on to it. That's what I would be looking to do. So, yeah, we can always dream, right? It's that's the fun part is dreaming. That is the fun part. But most likely, most of us, or the majority of us, tomorrow will wake up and still have to go to work. So I would hire Jason Angry Prepper as my bodyguard. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, you would have your own. You'd have to have security. Like I said, if you were out there, you're putting yourself out there. And like I said, the best thing is not to put yourself out there. But anyway, guys, I am going to jump off here for now. I will be live streaming on Wednesday, or today's Wednesday. See, it was a test and you passed. I will be live streaming on Friday. So I will see you guys at Friday at 8 o'clock. Oh my God, it's too funny. Have a great night. I will see you all later. Remember, guys, STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever you're trying to do, you can do it. The only one that's going to stop you from reaching your goals is going to be you. So stay positive, stay away from the negativity, set those realistic goals, and make them happen. Have a great night. I will talk to you all later. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.